Now, stay with us for the rest of the programme. We have a lot coming up. We're going to be doing our competition. We're also going to be talking to different people that are saying about the good things that you can do at home in terms of fitness and exercise and keeping things going. And I'm going to read out a lot more of your texts and comments. Firstly, I'm going to go straight to Lanzarote. Amy Cunningham, good morning.
Good morning, Damien. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Amy. A lot of people would know you around. You run an auctioneer's estate agent's letting business in Waterford,
yes.
Is that right?
That's correct, Damien. And
you went to Lanzarote with your with Lonnie, is it, there 2 weeks ago or a week ago?
That's right. We came out on the 11th of March. And in hindsight, if you had got the statement there from Leo 2 days later, we wouldn't be here. But there's a lot of tourists just came out, didn't realise the seriousness of this. In hindsight, I suppose we would never have travelled,
And
but we're here now.
We've heard Simon Coveney talking about all the different plans in place for Ryanair and Aer Lingus and different airlines to get people back from Spain and from other countries. What's your own situation regarding flights tomorrow?
Okay. Tomorrow, first of all, we are due to go back officially on the 26th. And 3 days ago, I suppose, when panic set in here, everyone was scrambling for flights. So there was really no option to switch flights, as they were saying. So we were on the computer here, and Tuesday, the flights were being sold out. Wednesday, so Lonnie just said to me to pay for the flights. So we're due to go out tomorrow at 11:30 in the morning. Now, we have a taxi booked. The taxis are running here on the island, but they are only allowing 2 people in a taxi. And we're leaving for the airport at 7:30 in the morning. It's the news coming back from the airport. It's really in panic out there. So we're just going to go to the airport, see what we can do. We're just talking to a man here in the complex, and his sister is on standby now. He reckons more planes would need to come out because we've booked the booking that we made for Thursday morning. There's no actual seats on it. You can't check in your bag, so that's a little bit unnerving. Unless they expect to stand like a bus going to Ireland, I don't know. We're just hoping that the extra planes will come out and take us home.
Okay, so let's just get this clear. You've made a booking for a flight for this Thursday. You've had to pay obviously extra money for this as well, I presume, have you?
Oh yeah, €850.
€850. There's no chance of you getting that back, is there?
I'm quite honest with you, Damien. It's a lot of money, but I didn't even look at that. We're more concerned about getting home.
Getting home first.
Now, yes, it's the panic on the streets here. Like the police are out in force. There's loudspeakers. There's just complete isolation. People in our complex are adhering to that. And as the days go on, we're nearly empty here. I'd say there's probably a half a dozen apartments here at the moment. And those that are left are all going home tomorrow. So people are just hoping that they'll get on that plane tomorrow and get home.
It must be surreal, is it, Amy?
It's like, Damien, it's very upsetting. And I think when you're away from family and friends, it's more so upsetting. Now, we're trying to keep calm. There's 4 cases, I believe, on the island so far. The Spanish authorities have done everything correctly, complete shutdown. They're rightly so. And I know people that are out here, say, long term, and I have 2 very good friends, and they've chosen not to go home on Thursday because they believe it's safer here than actually going back to Ireland. And they could be right, but you don't know till you get sick. Have they got enough beds here on the island to care for people? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to take the chance. I just want to get home. And at least, yes.
What does complete lockdown look like, Amy?
Eerie. We're overlooking the harbour in the old town in Portugal Carmen. There isn't a fishing boat out. There's nothing. No people on the streets. Heavily policed. just people are terrified. We have a corner shop here, we're lucky enough, and they're doing a fantastic job, and it's well stocked. But when you go in and the Spanish people are there, like, you just don't go near them. It's just like everyone is just terrified. It's really extreme here at the moment. I believe it's much the same at home.
Well, it's not in the sense that we don't have lockdown. We have life continuing as normal in terms of shops opened. Now, there's the social distancing taking place, but that lockdown hasn't happened. So you'll find it different when you get back. Is it possible to live in lockdown?
Well, I think we went to the supermarket there on day one of isolation, and to be quite honest, it was just panic, and we came out of it because we just felt too many people. Our corner shops here in Lanzarote, there's little corner shops, and which are great. They're Spanish owned and they're well stocked, and there's no panic in them. Now, you may pay a bit more, but at the end of the day, it's like you can get enough to eat, whatever. Even yesterday, we went down and got a few beers and had a few drinks for St. Patrick's Day. So I think everyone has to live within the means of their complex or of their street. And I think if they do that,
yes,
they should be okay.
And finally, a special hello to Lonnie as well. On Thursday, tomorrow morning, you have a flight booked. You don't have seats for that flight yet, so you're just going to turn up at the airport. You've paid more than €800 for this. You've officially got a booking, but you've no seats. You don't know what plane you're going to be going on. You're hoping... No. You're literally going to be turning up hoping you'll get home tomorrow?
Yes. We've, as I said, we've a taxi booked for 7:30 in the morning. Our flight is at 11:30. I believe people are going to the airport and they're being put on standby, even though they've bought these tickets. But I know more tomorrow. And what's a little bit scary, I think, is because we're in isolation here for 3 days. And what I'm terrified of is actually going into a packed airport. I think that's we're after getting our gloves, masks, everything we can kind of think of to try and safeguard our health. But we're going from isolation into huge crowds. And that in itself is a worry. And
you will have to go into isolation when you get back?
Yes.
For 2 weeks, the government advises.
People, that say they'd rather be in isolation here. We'd rained for the last 2 days, so that really kind of formed our whole mood here. But no, I think when you're in crisis, I think everyone just wants to be home, and if you stay in isolation at home, so be it. At least you're in your own environment, and if you're in trouble, you can call a neighbour or call a family member. But here we're trying to look after each other. We've a couple of elderly people still left, and this morning one of the guys had a car hire and went to the chemist to buy what was needed for people. So in that way, we're looking after each other as much as possible here. So I won't know any more until I get to the airport in the morning, and I'd gladly text you and let you know how everything is.
Do text us, and even if we have to ring you at the airport while you're there. But Amy, to you and Lonnie, safe travelling if you can make it. Hopefully you can make it, and safe home. Okay.
I just want to say to everyone there in Waterford is just stick together and just look after each other best you can. Okay.
Amy, take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Amy Cunningham there, an auctioneer and estate agent, letting agent in Waterford City and County. Hope she gets home. Hope she gets home safely. Damien, are these people that are coming from abroad have to be isolated? Yes, as I just said, they have to be self-isolated. Damien, anybody know the percentage of people who've contracted the virus by touching contaminated surfaces? No, we don't know the percentage of people. What about songs? What about The Life of Brian? Always look on the bright side of life. What about the Beatles? With a little help from my friends. Any word, Please WLR on plans for social welfare payments through banks to stop queuing at offices. My understanding is they're having some talks regarding that today. There hasn't been any definite announcement on that. I was in Fuerteventura and got home late Monday night. The flight was cancelled last Saturday. I never forget when the island went into lockdown. Only one person was allowed to go out to the supermarket or the chemist. The police were everywhere. When I got on a flight on Monday, they had people sitting in cockpit and on the air hostesses area. Fair play to Aer Lingus. They try to get as many people on the plane as possible, and that is from Lorraine. Keep your texts and your comments coming in, please. Hi, my sister and husband and 2 children were due back from Spain on Sunday. They couldn't get through to Ryanair, so we managed to book them through from here. They're about to board a plane now. It cost a total of €1,400. It's great to get them home, but they had already paid a return ticket for all before the changing of the flights. I suppose it is supposed to have been promised for free, but it just needs to be changed. How can Ryanair get away with this? Needs advice, please. And a lovely song, Damien, would be The Seekers, A World of Our Own from the 1960s. That's from John in Dungarvan. Nolene has phoned it in. She was stranded in Lanzarote. Flight was cancelled, but went to the airport, went on standby and luckily got home, so it's worth taking the chance. A Stand Up to Corona Voluntary Action Group. A voluntary group has been set up for local community post office payments to help people for post office payments, and we have a number there for somebody regarding that. And I also got a text in from Joe Kelly, who's established a Waterford volunteer group, Fool, Medicine, Coal, Blocks, etc., and he's coordinating the effort. And Joe can be contacted. If you give the council a ring, they'll give you Joe's number, or it's 087 2717 017. That's 087 2717 017. Regarding GA clubs, Damien says, Noel, GA clubs can't leave their grounds open for insurance purposes, public liability, 2,500. Club secretaries are getting emails about not leaving adult players train on grounds, even on their own, due to insurance. Other people texting in about the NCT centre as well, and that they need to have a lot more sanitisers up there. Keep your texts and your comments coming in, please. 083 3333 975. Text or WhatsApp. Now, in a minute, I'm going to be talking to Amy, a hairdresser. Firstly, Michael from Ferrybank has texted in. Damien, I heard about the comment earlier about the NCT centres. Surely they should be shut down, as some are not fully functioning as it is, with lifts out of action and people having to come back again to complete tests. And if infected people start going there inadvertently, if somebody gets there, it might be very difficult to track people down. Very good point, Michael. A word of appreciation, says Noel, a retired medical scientist. A word of appreciation for the laboratory staff at UHW who are now working flat out, providing a vital diagnostic testing service for GPs and other hospitals in the region. They work 24/7 and all test results are available online when completed. They don't normally get a mention, but they are a vital cog in the wheel in dealing with the current pandemic. That's from Noel Shanahy. Noel, I couldn't agree with you more. 100%. And the song I'm going to play at the end of the programme will be specially for all those working in the health service and particularly in the hospital, in University Hospital Waterford. Keep your suggestions coming in regarding what songs you might want played. Amy, good morning.
Good morning, Damien. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Sometimes music can bring people together and lift their spirits in these times, can't they?
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true.
It is. You're Amy Kelly and you are a hairdresser in Ferrybank, is that right?
Yeah, I have Shade's Hair Studio in Ferrybank.
And I presume you're closed, are you?
Yeah, we decided Saturday to close our doors for the foreseeable future. Hopefully it'll end soon. But
and that's very difficult. Can I just ask you first? Yeah.
But it has to be done. It's for the safety of the staff and the clients coming in. No matter what sanitisation that you do, it's not going to be enough. We can't keep within the guidelines of social distancing when our hands are actually on people doing their hair and they're lying back at sinks getting their hair washed. You're too close. But why I was in contact with you is I know for a fact that there's hairdressers and beauticians that are still open. And they think it's okay to open because they haven't been told by the government to close down, even though the guidelines are there for the social distancing. And I just feel it's so annoying for us that have taken the measures to close down, and when others won't follow the guidelines.
Yeah. Very good point, and I see where you're coming from. How many staff have you had to lay off? Like, it's very difficult for you and your family and for all your staff, isn't it?
Yeah, there's 5 of us in the salon, and it has been a difficult decision, but it's the right one to do. You know, and I'm trying to look after the girls for the next couple of weeks, but I just don't know what's going to happen after that.
Yeah. And,
you know,
I can understand what you're saying about other places, and I think from what I'm hearing anecdotally as well is that there are a lot of hairdressers that are now suggesting home visits from people and to people. And
I don't think it's going to work out either.
No,
when they're, especially with elderly people, when they're telling them to stay in and not have people calling them, and then hairdressers calling into them, it's just not going to work out.
Yeah.
You know, I think if everywhere took the measures and did do the right thing, close down for the couple of weeks, and hopefully it'll bring the numbers down. You know, but not everyone are following the guidelines. I drove through town the other day, and I saw parents bringing children into Smith's on Monday. Like, school is closed for 2 weeks, or for a few weeks, for a reason. They're not meant to be in public places. I know that you can bring them out for a walk and up the fields. I have 2 children myself, but they're not meant to be in supermarkets or shops. So I just can't understand. It's just so annoying when you see this happening then, when most of us are trying our best to do the right thing.
Yeah, and in a minute I'm going to be talking to Kieran Doyle, who's another person who's been made unemployed. Amy, can I ask you, there's a human element to this as well. A lot of women in particular, they go to the hairdresser once a week. They just love getting the hair done or whatever it is. It's just that social thing, and it's the idea of, like, I'm not being flippant. I'm not being flippant about this, but as somebody said to me this morning, in a few weeks' time, we're going to see the real colour of some people's hair, because this is going to, from a stress perspective, a lot of women in particular are going to feel this was the only little bit of social outlet I had to go and get the hair done. It's just so sad, isn't it?
I know. It is very sad, and it's so unfortunate. But look, everyone's in the same boat. We're all in the same position. You know, if everyone just followed the rules for now, just to try and bring the numbers down.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, we'll get your message out there and see what people say. And Amy, listen, you mind yourself and your family. What's your children's names?
Mia and Joey.
Special hello to Mia and Joey, okay? You mind yourself, okay?
I will indeed. Thanks very much, Damien.
Amy, thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you. I think on the line now we have, are you there, Kieran? You are?
I am indeed, Damien. How are you keeping an eye?
I'm all right, Kieran, thanks, yeah. I'm still working at
self-isolation in your booth there.
No, not self-isolating yet at present. We have contingency plans in place if the virus does come into the studio or come into the building here in the broadcasting centre, because it's important that we continue broadcasting. I think a lot of people, it's important. But you're in a very difficult situation. You're the bar manager of the Waterfront in Tramore. You signed on Monday, did you?
I did, unfortunately, yes. I think it was 140,000 people signed on Monday, I think it was out of them 50,000 out of the hospitality units were let go. It was one of those decisions. We made a decision at 9 o'clock, Damien, on Saturday night to close the bar. And then I put up a post on Sunday morning just to inform people that we had closed. I think it was the right call. It was the right thing to do, because there's 28 people working in the Waterfront, between full-time and part-time staff. So they were at risk. And then obviously because of the knock-on effect, now they had done a great job in the restaurant side of things. They'd actually separated, they'd gone over the meter part of the distancing of tables and that as well. But when you have waiting staff going directly to tables as well, the knock-on effect would have been ridiculous. So I think it was a right call, and I think most bars, outside of some certain bars in certain parts of Dublin, didn't make that call early enough, I think. But it was the right thing to do.
What is going to happen, do you think, Kieran? Like €203 or whatever it is, people might have a bit of money for the first few weeks, but it's going to be very difficult.
Well, it is. I mean, you're going to have to budget out your things. But as I said, my partner, I'm lucky enough in the sense that my partner, Carrie, works in the bank. Now, she's not sure about how long is she going to be employed or, so we have our wage coming into the house. But I know people that have no wages. They're both people who would have been in the hospitality departments, and they now are both unemployed and with a wage of €400 a week with rent, with mortgages or food, your utility bills, everything else. There's a hell of a lot of insecurity with people. So I think the likes of the banks and that should come out and help people. You know, if we bailed them out a long time ago, they should bail us out now. You know, in that respect. Yes. People have to tighten up. Yeah, obviously, but you know, it is what it is. We know you have to face the reality of it. We were initially told 2 weeks, but I think you and I both know it's going to be a hell of a lot longer than 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, we heard the Taoiseach say that last night. It's going to be longer. We don't know how long. Like, there is the medical aspect to this, Kieran, and that's one thing. I think the effects on this economically are we still don't know what's going to happen on this. How are you feeling about yourself? How do you think things are going to go?
Well, I don't know. That's the big thing. The big insecurity. Nobody knows. You know, I would hope. I'm a very optimistic person. I would hope that we'll see it through. We'll come to the other end. I mean, I'm looking at the news coming through from China and India and places like that. We've done things correctly, and now it's got to the case where the cases have actually dropped in these countries. So I'm very optimistic. I think that if everybody does the right thing, you know, we get through the other end. How long it's going to take, I've absolutely no idea, much as nobody else has, because I think that's the big problem is the insecurity. Nobody knows. You know, it's like you put up a post yesterday about the people watching what people say. I mean, the amount of misinformation that's been put up is ridiculous. You know, like people who don't know what they're talking about. You know, like I don't know about that. I don't know about COVID-19. I don't know the ins and outs of it. So I couldn't tell you about what it is. All I can tell you is that I've been optimistic about the whole thing.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Well, we're going to have a person on now in the next few minutes who knows a lot about it. She's one of the senior public health specialists in the country in the next few minutes, so have a listen to that. Listen, Kieran, to you and your family, mind yourself, okay?
You too, Damien, mind yourself. Take care, pal.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Kieran Doyle there talking to us, and as you heard him say, manager of the Waterford Waterfront in Tramore. A text in, I'm living alone, I'm 73 years of age, I'm able to drive myself and able to look after myself. I'm allowed to go to the shops. Am I allowed to go to the shops? My family are working. I don't want to put more pressure on them. I don't know what to do. Thanks so much for all the help and support you've given to all the WLR listeners. Thank you again. As you've heard, the official advice is to limit the number of times that you go out, particularly if you're over the age of 70. There is no orders, no restrictions in terms of saying that you can't go out, but it's all about sensible changing of behaviour and lifestyle. And in a minute we are going to be talking to Dr. Carmel Mullaney, who is the Senior Public Health Specialist for the HSE in the South East, regarding the very latest. Now I'm going to be talking to Dr. Carmel Mullaney in a second. Couple of texts. People wondering the KYO practice, had the number changed? The number that we have for the KYO practice is 051 317 600. That's 051 317 600. A woman phoned in to say she brought her car to be NCT'd in Waterford this morning. There was around 40 people there. They were told it couldn't be done this morning to rebook as they were down on manpower. Another person about beauticians and hairdressers still being open, saying this is absolutely selfish if they're still open. They care about no one but their own pockets. I'm from a salon with 7 staff. We've all been laid off. We have to do this until it passes. And yes, it's going to be tough, but I'm here making sure my children are kept at home and not out socialising with others. We're all in the same boat. We can't beat this unless everybody does what is advised. A very strong, positive text from that woman there. And that leads me very nicely to Carmel. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Damien.
Thank you very much for joining us. You're Director Public Health Specialist within the HSE South East, Dr. Carmel Mullaney. Thank you so much for joining us. I very much appreciate it. Can I ask you, do you think the message is going through and getting through enough to people regarding what should and needs to be done?
Well, it's certainly getting through to a lot of people, as evidenced by the text you read out there, as evidenced by some of the local businesses that are making sincere efforts to support the community in social distancing. And I suppose one of the reasons I wanted to come on this morning is to encourage all of your listeners to take the public health advice that's been given as seriously as possible, and if necessary to explain some of the terms being used and what they mean. I think a lot of people are taking this seriously, but it's quite possible that some are still not. I think that it's important to realise that while right now you may not know somebody who has COVID-19, it's very likely that within a short space of time you will, and that you will come in contact with these people. So the important thing to do is for all of us to get used to using these measures right now. In the country now we have just over 290 cases nationally. We still have relatively low numbers in the southeast, but we will have more. So it's really important that everyone takes the advice on social distancing seriously. It's not easy. It's all about limiting or avoiding the unnecessary social contact with other people as much as possible. And that's for people who are well. So if you're well and able to work from home, you should be working from home rather than going into work. Obviously, children are out of school now, and many businesses are enabling working from home. But if something isn't essential, really it shouldn't be done. But with social distancing, I suppose...
Can I just on that, Doctor, again, it's probably a question you can't answer, but we've had quite a number of people, a lot of people in Waterford, and come into Waterford to work in factories, large factories. And by the very nature, they can't work from home. And I know management in certain factories are trying to do a social distancing aspect within the workplace there, but sometimes they can't. It's just very difficult, and some of these people are texting us saying they're listening to advice from yourself, like you, and other GPs, and yet they're saying that doesn't apply to us. So they can be a little bit more worried and maybe a little bit more stressed, can't they?
Yeah, and I think that's understandable, but it is important that managers in all businesses do take measures to enable social distancing in as much as that is possible.
Yes.
But where it becomes extremely important is where people have symptoms. So now, with coronavirus beginning to circulate in our community, it's important that anyone who has a cough or fever or shortness of breath does not come into work, that they stay at home. The term used for someone who is a suspect case, even if they're awaiting a test, to actually, what they need to do is to self-isolate, which is a step further than just avoiding unnecessary social contact. It's actually avoiding social contact completely. So if somebody has symptoms of cough, fever, or shortness of breath, irrespective of whether their workplace is open for business or not, they should not be there. So I think that's really important. And although people have to contact their GPs in order to be tested for coronavirus if that's appropriate, and GPs can make that decision and organise testing if it's appropriate. But as time goes on, that will become even more important, that anyone who's sick does not leave their house and stays at home. And so unless they are instructed to go somewhere specifically for testing. So,
can I ask you a very specific question then, Doctor? And again, I appreciate you coming on. We had Dr. Jeff Plant on this morning as well, and we're giving facts out, and that's what we do on the programme. We don't deal in rumours or anything like that. A number of people have texted in since you've come on air. Can you please ask Dr. Mullaney, is the virus airborne? Just to clarify this idea of the virus being airborne.
Yeah, more than happy to clarify that. The term airborne tends to be understood as that the virus will, when it's released through coughing or sneezing, will float off into the air around you. In fact, that's not the case with coronavirus in the vast majority of situations, with the exception of some healthcare procedures that can cause that. When someone coughs or sneezes and they have coronavirus, what's produced is a spray of fairly heavy droplets. They're tiny, but they're heavy, and they fall onto the ground or onto the person next to them or onto a table or whatever is nearby within a 1 to 2 metre distance, usually really within 1 metre, but we say 2 metres to be absolutely safe.
Okay.
So that is why this 1 to 2 metre distancing advice is given. So the droplet falls onto people's hands. If they don't wash their hands and then 5 or 10 minutes later rub their eyes or their mouth, that's a really effective way of passing on the virus. It spreads from person to person in that way. So also it can land on surfaces, which makes cleaning really important. It doesn't live for very long on surfaces. It can really only live in a human being. So it's spread mostly from one human to another through the coughing and sneezing and landing on hands.
Okay, so in a way
that makes hand washing so important.
Yeah, but that term airborne can be taken in different ways. So the way you've described it, some people will take from that implies that it can travel through the air and land on a surface. So it is airborne, some people are texting, no?
Well, I suppose I'm using the technical term airborne in that it isn't light enough to float off into the air. It is really in the very close vicinity. It's what we call droplet spread.
Yes.
So it's really much closer than something that is more typically airborne. Some other diseases would be easier spread, in fact, through the airborne route. But this is slightly less easier spread than some things like measles, for instance. But it is still relatively easy to spread coronavirus, as we know, because the cases are rising. But it is important to understand how it's spread and why hand washing can actually prevent it from being spread from one person to another. Cleaning of surfaces can actually prevent it from being spread and staying in your own house. And if you have symptoms, staying in your own room and away from other members of your household, and particularly considering vulnerable members of the household.
And I'm glad that you've clarified that distinction between airborne, because some medical people will define it in a certain way as if it's sort of a pollution type of thing, whereas the specific thing of 1 to 2 metres away from somebody, if somebody sneezes, it can travel as a droplet, a heavy droplet, you could say, and that's when you have to be so careful. Can I ask you, what do people need to do? Just to sum it up for us, please, Doctor, in terms of this crisis that we're in. What do people need to do?
Okay, well, the advice on minimising or avoiding unnecessary social contact as much as possible is really important. Of course, there are essential things. Everyone has to buy food, and some people, particularly healthcare workers, have to go to work. I think hand washing when you do have to leave the house and within the house, of course, but washing your hands often, particularly if you've and avoiding shaking hands. But if you do have contact with somebody in a physical way, that you wash hands afterwards. That you wash hands after going shopping, for instance, when you come back into the house. That you cover your mouth and nose if you cough or sneeze. If you've used a tissue, to bin it immediately and wash your hands, and clean and disinfect surfaces and objects frequently. Avoid crowded places, especially indoors. And if you are sick, if you have symptoms, stay at home completely. Get someone to deliver your groceries. Phone your GP. And if you're very, very sick, and I mean very, very sick, that you are concerned that shortness of breath is getting very serious, then it's more of an emergency, and the emergency department at the hospital, but phoning first. So not touching eyes, nose and mouth is very important. That's very hard to do. And I think as, parents and business leaders and people, leaders in the community need to re-emphasize these messages and use their influence. It's not easy for people to adhere to these. I think particular groups, people, children, teenagers are getting a little bit of cabin fever at this point. So it's really difficult, but we have to understand the importance of continuing with this for possibly many weeks ahead, and maintaining this, because it's all about slowing down the increase in the number of cases. And as you've heard, the Taoiseach and everybody else recently talking about flattening this curve, so that instead of a short peak that really negatively affects our health services' ability to cope, we see a slower rise in cases, which the health services may be just about able to cope with.
Doctor,
so we really all have to do our part in this, and thinking carefully about vulnerable people. Staying in phone contact with people is really important.
Yes. We might come back to you later in the week or early next week. Dr. Carmel Mullaney, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Carmen Mullaney there, HSE Director, Public Health of the South East. Thanks very much for that. Keep your texts and your comments coming in. A lot of people texting in about the hairdressing and beauty salon. Well done to Amy and the girls, Damien. They are completely right. Looking forward to getting my hair done from the girls when they are open again. Other people suggesting, could hairdressers put together a mixture for dyes for individuals that they can bring the dyes home with them and dye their own home-made hair? I'll be dyeing my hair with over-the-counter hair dye, says this texter. Maybe it won't look as good as getting it done professionally, but it will cover my grey hairs and keep up my morale, says that person. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of that. As somebody said to me, we're going to see a lot of the real colour of their hair is going to come out shortly. Stay with us, we're going to have our competition next. Now, in a second, I'm going to be talking to Annabelle Higgins, our competition entry. Firstly, excellent information on the show as ever this morning. In regards to dyeing my hair, I left mine go grey after cancer treatment. The best thing I ever did, matches my skin tone. Keep up the great work in WLR, everybody there, and stay safe. That is from Mary. Annabelle, good morning.
Hi, Damien. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. What about the hairdressing situation?
Oh, sure. It doesn't bother me that much now, to be honest.
Fair play to you. Listen, thanks very much. You're in with a chance to win, as part of our Original Irish Hotel competition, a 2-night breakaway with breakfast and 1 evening meal in the Bush Hotel in Leitrim, up in lovely Carrick-on-Shannon. Would you like that?
Lovely, yeah.
That'd be great. Fair play. So listen, I'm going to see how many questions you can answer in 30 seconds, and you give it a go. And I know people like doing this at home, so turn your radio up and have a listen to this and see how many questions we can answer in 30 seconds. Are you ready to go? I'm going to play the timer underneath you. Is that okay?
Lovely, thanks.
Okay, here we go. Annabelle Higgins from Connolly Place. Ready, steady, go. In darts, how much is the bullseye worth?
50 points.
What is the square root of 144?
12.
Which chess piece cannot move in a straight line?
Knight.
What bird is the international symbol of happiness?
Dove.
Which country does the singer Pavarotti come from?
Italy.
What's the main ingredient in hand sanitizer?
Alcohol.
Which female vocalist had a hit... OK, you can take your time on this one. Which female vocalist had a 1970s number one hit with Always Be My Baby? Always Be My Baby.
I don't know that one, pass.
OK, Mariah Carey. And the international symbol of happiness is the bluebird. Peace is the other one with the dove, but the bluebird is happiness. You got 5 right. You did very well. And you're currently the leader. Dara only got 3 this morning. So you're currently the leader. So well done.
Oh, lovely. Thanks a million.
So we'll let you know later. The competition will continue on Jeff's show, and then it'll also continue later on with, I suppose, Aveen. So see how we get on. So Annabelle Higgins, you're currently winning. And do you want to say hello to anybody?
I suppose my mum and dad, Bernie and Christine as well.
OK, a special hello to them. Listen, thanks so much. Mind yourself, OK?
Cheers, thanks a million.
Thank you very much, Annabelle Higgins there, talking to us from Connolly Place. I think I'm going to try and get somebody on briefly now before we play our song. A lot of competitions, a lot of people have been ringing in, and I think now we have Linda. Is it Lynn on the line?
It is. Hello, how are you?
Hello, Lynn. Good to talk to you. We don't have very much time before the end of the programme, Lynn, but I want to give you a special mention. You contacted us through Facebook and through Messenger about something you're doing to try to keep people going. What is it?
So I have a business called the Paper Hustle Method, and we are running every single day at 12:30 free online fitness classes for the community. After having closed down our physical business, which was Rebound Fitness in Tremor, we wanted to do something that we could help the community and beyond to just, try and help people feel a bit better through this kind of really mental phase of businesses closing down and heightened stress and anxiety. And so myself and Martina Perry, who is my business partner, we decided that we would bring it online and we would give this free workout in order to help people boost their immunity, to help people boost their mental, emotional and physical wellness, and to also provide some structure around the people's days that are working from home, for the children that are being homeschooled. We started it on Monday.
Yeah.
And so we've ran it for the past 2 days, and we just want help in order to get the word out there to every single person that we can reach, to let them know that we are providing this service. It's free of charge. It's running from our main Facebook page, 12:30 every single day, and it is there and it is available for anybody who needs it.
It sounds brilliant, and it's called Pepper Hustlers, Pepper, Pepper Hustlers, Hustlers.
So the page is actually the Pepper Hustle method, so we're not running it privately.
Okay.
We're running it from the public Facebook page.
Public Facebook page, yes.
Pepper Hustle method.
Excellent.
HUSTLE method, METHOD.
Super. And it's starting in 40 minutes' time.
It's starting in 40 minutes' time, and
Okay.
I just ask anybody who's listening, anybody who joins, please start a watch party, tag your friends, get anybody involved, because you do not know who you can help by letting them know that this is there and it's available and it's there for you, it's for us, it's for anybody who needs it. And it will help just kind of, with the stress and anxiety that everybody is dealing with, for your mental health, and you are going to be feeling better after. All you need is floor space. You need 20 minutes of time and a big smile on your face. And you're definitely going to be feeling better after your workout. I'm telling you, it's proven.
I better try it myself then, I think, Lynn. I think I will, yeah, I will.
Get your mat out onto the floor. If you don't have a mat, you can use a towel. And there's no equipment required. We are making this as accessible for everybody, because we all need it at this time, and we need it now more than ever, and we cannot neglect our physical and mental wellness right now,
Lynn,
at the time whenever we need it most.
Thank you so much, and we'll give out that information again. And listen, the best of luck to you, and we'll keep in touch. We might talk again next week, okay?
Thank you so much. So
thank you, Lynn.
12:30 every single day. Thank you so much. See you later.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Mind yourself. All the very best. Now, have a little listen. A lot of you know and love this song.
Walking on a day near tall towers.
So this is Mary Black, a song for Ireland. We're going to play it out on this. I'm going to play a song at the end of every day, every programme. And this is especially for all those working in the hospital here. All those working in the hospital. Those heroes, as we say. So the best of luck. Take care. Mind yourselves. Thanks for all your texts, for all your comments. Thank you, Julie, for producing. Thank you, everybody, all the work colleagues here in WLR for keeping the show on the road. You're doing Trojan work. Mind yourselves and your families. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Turn the radio up and sing it loud.